So this is the new rules of engagement for the second round of the SBA's Paycheck Protection Program, the funding that is available. I'm going to go through what's available to you fairly quickly. I'm going to also go through the how to fill out the form, because I know that this is where people really get stuck. They don't know what they're being asked, and I understand that. So all right. So this is for those people that don't know me very well, that haven't met me very often. So I'm Lorna Whitaker, and I'm a small business consultant, coach, and financial skills trainer. My expertise is in all things money. I have more than 40 years working with entrepreneurs, helping them transform struggling businesses into businesses that thrive. I have worked with startups with little more than elbow grease and a dream, and businesses with 7-figure incomes and 35 departments. My purpose is to help small business owners get the financial skills they need in order to produce profitable businesses. I do have to do this disclaimer. I'm a small business expert. I'm not an attorney, a CPA, or licensed tax professional. I cannot and do not give legal or tax advice. I provide general information about business management, operations, and financial matters for informational purposes only. Challenges are the springboard for growth. And really, that is what this paycheck protection money can be used for, to help you grow your businesses, because they know that you had setbacks in 2020 that were completely unprecedented. It is impossible to foresee what may show up as you run and grow your business. And I'm here to help you better be prepared for the bumps in the road so you can adapt, stay committed, love your business, and produce results. So 98% of small businesses have fewer than 20 employees. It's almost 20 million of them, okay? And they are the Main Street businesses that anchor our neighborhoods and help families build wealth. And those businesses often struggle more than larger businesses in accessing relief. And this is exactly what happened in 2020 with round one of PPP. They never expected those major businesses to go in and claim so much money. So the Biden presidency announced that there are going to be 5 specific changes to the Paycheck Protection Program. And he did this last Monday, and it was to ensure equitable access to small business relief. So these are the changes that are being proposed. They have not yet been approved, and approval is expected tomorrow. Monday. And that's why I'm trying to get out in front of this. So these slides are really thrown together quickly, because it was like, I got to move on this, folks. This is just too important. Small businesses need access to this information. So they instituted a 2-week period where only businesses with under 20 employees can apply for the program. That began Thursday, and it's not even really approved yet, but the banks are moving on it. So that's from February 24th through March the 9th. They are going to provide more funding for sole proprietors and self-employed individuals. Now, it's really interesting how they're making that distinction, and it showed up in round one, is that sole proprietors have businesses. They either have a fictitious business name in the county in which they reside, and they almost all should have a business banking account. But the self-employed are the ones that they're saying that they're the Uber drivers, or they have some other MLM, multi-level marketing kind of affiliation. And so they don't always have business accounts. They should, of course, you know my feeling on that, but they don't always. So they wanted to be sure that they identify them as they have the independent contractor, the self-employed, and the sole proprietors. It's really not a whole lot of difference. It's just a different terminology. They wanted to eliminate the restriction that prevented small business owners with non-fraud related felonies from receiving PPP aid. That, I don't know anybody that falls into that category, but that's one of the changes, okay, that they wanted to put in place. They said, hey, these folks shouldn't be barred simply because they had a mess in a previous life. So, they wanted to eliminate the restriction that prevents small business owners with student loan debt from receiving PPP aid. Because if you got your student loan and it was through the government, well, then they were being blocked from getting financial assistance. And they said, oh, that's not really fair. So they wanted to change that. And then they also wanted to ensure access for non-citizens who are lawful residents who need PPP relief. So those are the 5 major changes that they're proposing. But we're really only going to deal with the first 2 today because that's who applies to most people. So millions of US small businesses don't have employees and were previously excluded from the PPP loan calculations from round 1. Okay, they were just blocked everywhere they turned. They just didn't qualify. These new changes will revise the loan calculation formula. This is the biggie. This is the big piece that they're changing to ensure that sole proprietors, self-employed individuals, and independent contractors also received aid. Okay. To specifically help small businesses, a 14-day period from February 24th through March the 10th. Now, I did say March 9th because that's what keeps showing up. So what it looks like is that they're going to start processing the bigger companies on March the 10th. They're really going to give us that period of time from the 24th through the 9th so that it's an exclusive window for small businesses with 20 or fewer employees. So that's the big piece right there, to allow the lenders to focus on them. So they're not even allowed to process the bigger ones. They can accept them, but they won't even open them up. They won't even begin processing them. And again, this approval is supposed to occur on Monday, March the 1st. One of the things that you will be required to do is prove that you were in business on February 15th of 2020. So a February bank statement with the business name on it, payroll records if you have them, or some other official documentation like your fictitious business name statement or a business license can be used to demonstrate that you were in fact in business on February 15th. So if you started your business on March 15th of 2020, you're excluded. Just right off the get-go, you can't get any money. You have to be able to demonstrate a 25% loss or greater in 2020 in any matching quarter from 2019 and 2020. Now, if you borrow less than $150,000, you don't actually have to name that quarter when you put in your application, but you may be asked to produce it. So what you have to do is prepare a profit and loss statement comparing the 2 quarters, and you have to basically, I did it up as a PDF document, and then you have to say, as I am the owner of my business, whatever the name is, and I attest, the word is attest, A-T-T-E-S-T, I attest that the information here is true and correct. I attest that this information is true and correct, and then you date it, and then you put an electronic signature on it. They may or may not ask you for it, but you need to be prepared to produce it. Delays in producing requested additional documentation will slow down the application process and could get you outside of that exclusive window. So you want to have this information pulled together. So I'm going to show you how to fill out the application. You can get submitted on Monday to whoever your lender might be, and then start pulling together all this other documentation so you have it at your fingertips, because they'll start emailing you or give you a notification, more documentation than needed. And then you have to look where they want you to put it and upload it, okay? So I did send you the link to this information. So I always encourage people to be completely self-sufficient. So one of the things is that when you have a question, you can always go to this site and look to see what's going on. It does read a little like stereo instructions, but pause, take a look at it. What information am I looking for? And then you start looking for the information you want specifically. Now, this particular application that I sent you, says that it was revised on February 17th. But if you'll note that it shows that the date on it was February 21st, that the form was created that day. They may create a new form on Monday, and I don't know if they will. The banks may have their own form for you to submit. But by using the form that is here and that I emailed to you, you can actually have all the information ready and at your fingertips, so that when you go to fill out the bank's form or the lender's form, you already have that information and you don't have to spend any time searching for it. It'll be at your fingertips, ready to go. This is a real time saver, folks, because it gets you out of uncertainty and gets you into just getting it done, okay? Okay, so the covered period is, so it's from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. So it can't be fewer than 8 weeks, and it can't be longer than 24 weeks. What that means is that as a sole proprietor, you're going to receive the money and you can pay yourself, okay? And they're talking about you as being an employee of your company, but you're not an employee of your company. It's it's a wording situation, when in fact you are they call you an employee, but you're not an employee because you don't get a W-2 and you don't get your money that way. Okay, you take it out by way of owner's draw, but you have to document it. It's going to be required that you document it in order to get forgiveness. Do it as you take the money out. Keep your bookkeeping up to date, because otherwise it makes the forgiveness part of the application really hard to do. The covered expenses are payroll, rent or mortgage interest, utilities, and then they've added additional ones. Costs for business software or cloud computing services that facilitate your business operations, expenses for personal protection equipment, masks, gloves, etc., and property damage that resulted from public disturbances not covered by insurance. Okay, so anything that you had to pay out of pocket for any damage to property. So they did that. Now, there are more that they're allowed, because I know in round one, I had one client who wanted to know if she could buy a new computer in order to create online business services. And her CPA said that she could. So it really becomes that I got the equipment, or I did this, that, and the other in order to grow my business to be reaching an online audience, okay? To reach a cloud audience. So this is, so don't feel that this limits you. It is just really a guideline. And it changes. Man, this has changed so much from the first time that they put it out to what was going to be allowed. So don't worry about it. Just document everything that you spent in order to grow your business if it comes anywhere close to meeting any of these parameters, or even some others, okay? So how much can you borrow? It's now being calculated on an average monthly payroll option under the program. So we're going to cover that a little bit further, but the big change here is that you can use your gross income to calculate your monthly payroll. So if you have employees, you would calculate their monthly payroll, but then as a sole proprietor, you can take your gross income and also use that to calculate. So you would add that together. So I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the form, but this is, you can use 2.5. Now, if you're in the food industry, you can use 3.5, and you might be sure to check. It's supposed to be that any business with a NAICS number starting with 72 is eligible for the 3.5 calculator. The interesting issue is that I ran into filling out one for Wells Fargo is their boxes were predetermined. And even though we put in that they were a 72 business, it wouldn't calculate it at 3.5. It wanted to do the 2.5. So, you have to stay on top of it. You are always responsible for taking care of yourself and your business. And knowing these rules allows you to say, wait, no, that doesn't seem right. If your lender doesn't understand or know, well, you could get less money because they don't actually know the rules. You need to know the rules. And I gave you the site to the SBA so that you can go and snip it and send it to them and say, no, this is what I'm understanding the rule says. And so you can challenge them. It might delay your application a little bit, but now you've got somebody you can talk to, and you can talk to in real ways so that you get as much money as possible. Okay. All right. So one of the things that you're going to be required to do is you're going to be required to give them a Schedule C off of your tax return. It's about a few pages back. It's not on the front. But one thing I want you to note, and it came up as a question this morning from someone who couldn't attend, they wanted to know which year. And as near as I can tell, you can use either 2020 or you can use 2019. My guess is that 2019 is going to be the better year for you. And the reason that I say this is that if you're doing the regular payroll calculations, if you had employees, they're allowing you to use either 2019 or 2020 as the information that you're pulling your average monthly payroll from. Average monthly payroll is whatever you paid for the year divided by 12. For payroll, it includes all of their wages, okay, total wages, gross wages, and whatever you paid to the state of California for their benefits. So you can use those two sets of numbers. And if you have a third-party payroll service, they'll help you get that information. Third party would be Sure Payroll or QuickBooks or some other company, or even a bookkeeper who might be doing payroll for you. Okay, so you can use 2019 or 2020. Most of us don't have our tax returns done for 2020, so 2019 is the one you're going to be pulling. Okay, this is, I thought, really, really interesting. So this says enter code from instructions. So it says, oh, you need to go to your instructions and you need to see what this number is. This is your NAICS number, NAICS. This is your national association or whatever number that says this is the kind of business that I have. Most people who have a CPA or bookkeeper who prepares their information for them, they don't even realize it's being put on this form. And this is the number that you're going to need to fill out your application, your NAICS number. And this is the one that if you fall into the category of where it starts with 72, your number here is going to start with 72. Okay? This is the big change. Instead of it being your net income, and a lot of people had zero or less, they were losing money. Well, then they're saying, well, that really excluded a lot of people who were working hard and were in maybe even early stages of their business. They weren't showing much of a profit, so they got almost no money. So we want to give them the benefit of using gross income. You're going to use this gross income, and you'll see that it is your gross receipts or sales less your costs of goods. Okay, so you're going to use your gross income. You're going to add lines 5 and 6 if there's anything there. Okay, so this is the number. You're going to take this, you're going to divide it by 12, and I'll show you where it's going to go next. Okay, so this is the first part of the application form. You're going to check one of the boxes, and for those of you who are here today, it's going to be sole proprietor. Okay, An interesting challenge comes up with the way the banks want the information. So your business legal name, if you have a fictitious business name statement, is the one that you have filed with the county. And does not go in the DBA or trade name box. However, some of the banks are requiring it to be your name in the business legal name. So my recommendation is put your name in the business legal name box, followed by DBA, and then put your business name next to it. You can go ahead and put DBA or trade name in the box too, but follow the instructions for the bank. But the reality is that you are legally doing business as this name. So it just has to do with the way the bank wants to treat it. So anyway, that's my recommendation. That's what I have seen works, because then when the money comes back at you, it actually shows your business name on the bank account. And if they try to deposit it into your name only, there might be a hiccup there. So put both your full business legal name is your name followed by DBA. Okay. Then you can see where the NAICS code goes. I just showed you where to find that on your Schedule C. Okay. Your business TIN, tax identification number, is either your Social Security number, or if you have an EIN number, an employer identification number, you would put it there. However you report your earnings, you would put that information here. Your business address, the location of your business. This here, the average monthly payroll, this is where you're going to take your information from your Schedule C, line 7, divided by 12, okay, unless the bank wants you to put the annual amount in. And I have already encountered one bank that wants you to put the total for the year in this box, okay? And then they calculate it, and that's where we ran into the problem, where they wanted to just use the 2.5. So even though we had said that they were a restaurant and qualified for the 3.5, this information automatically populated from this information because the bank had set it up to do that. So you have to stay on top of that. Pay attention. If you don't understand why it's not working, call me. Okay, I'll help you through it. So your average monthly payroll here would be, if you have employees, their average monthly payroll number plus your average monthly payroll as a sole proprietor based on the information you pulled from line 7 of Schedule C. Then you multiply it by 2.5 or 3.5 as applies to you, and then you put your number here. Okay, number of employees. If you have employees, let's say you have 3 employees, then the number here would be 4, not 3. It would be 4 because they want you to count yourself as an employee. So if it's only you as a sole proprietor and you only use like independent contractors, the number of employees is 1. Okay. If you have other employees, it's how many they are plus yourself. The purpose for the loan is payroll costs, again, because it's you as an employee. So it's your payroll costs or employee payroll costs, rent or mortgage interest if you have it, utilities if you think you will, covered operations expenditures. Be sure to check the box on this one. Covered property damage if you have it, covered supplier costs if it's relevant for you, if you need more supplies for growth, covered worker protection, that's that the shields and masks and things like that, and other if you think there will be other expenses. Okay, if you had money from the first round of PPP, you put the SBA loan number here, not your lender's number, which is different, but your first SBA loan number here. Okay, so here's the place where it says you had a reduction in gross receipts of at least 25%. Applicants for loans of $150,000 or less may leave it blank, but must provide it upon or seeking loan forgiveness or upon SBA request. And you never know when this is going to come up. So have it ready. Have it ready, okay? Oops. Okay. So on this one here, the owner's name, that's going to be your name, okay? And you're the owner. Your ownership is whatever it is. Usually it's 100%. Your social security number and your address. Now, if you have interest in another business of greater than 25 or 20%, you have to indicate that here also. Okay, you have to indicate that here. So, and then you have to do a separate sheet. It's very simple. It's a really simple form. And if you need help with that, give me a holler. Okay, just give me a call, shout. This PPP borrowed demographic information is completely optional. You're not required to fill this out. Okay, so then we get into this part of it. So you read it and you mark the box. The form that I sent you is fillable. So you're just gonna, just tick on the boxes and make sure that it's true. Notice here that on 4 and 5, they want you to provide an initial. Now you can type it in. What I typically do is once I have filled out the form completely, I turn it into a PDF. And a different PDF. I actually set it as a print to PDF, and it changes the way this works. So these boxes aren't, sorry. So these boxes are no longer fillable, but allow you to apply your signature or your initials. That doesn't seem like the lenders care very much, whether you do it that way or not. But be sure to capture them. Oh, and there's another one here. It says, is it a franchise listed in the SBA's franchise? Be sure that you would check no, but if it's a yes, you need to fill this box out too. I provided all the extra pages. Just go ahead and read them slowly. Try not to worry about them. They're pretty what's called boilerplate, which means they're just standard languaging, but you need to be sure that you are, by your signing, you're saying that this information is in fact true. Okay. At any point of preparing this application, you can find that you're disqualified. If you think you're disqualified, I again really encourage you to reach out to me so that I can help you find a solution or a workaround if there is one available to you. And then you're going to go through and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to initial all of these boxes, okay? And like this last one here, the applicant has not and will not receive a shuttered venue operator grant. Well, the thing is that says there's another grant out there. If you don't know what this is, chances are you didn't get it. So you can look into it, you can research it a little bit, but if you don't know what this is, chances are you're a no. So you would just mark that as, put your initial on it. And then there's more, okay? Just read them carefully and initial them. And then you're going to print your name, date it, your title is owner, and the signature will be yours. Again, just really boilerplate information, but this is attached to the application. If you're in doubt of how to fill out a section of it, read the instructions, but they are challenging. And remember that this form may be not true as to what is available to you. So that's why I gave you the link and I'm giving you this information so that you know how to actually fill out the boxes. But if in doubt, you can read this here. It gives you, average monthly payroll, how to figure it out, monthly payroll for 2019 or 2020. I mean, it gives you all this information. So if you feel uncertain, you can read this over again. Again, really boilerplate information about all the rules and everything that's available to you to help you fill out the form. It's not their intention to make it hard. They do, but it's not their intention to do that. Again, more information for you and more. So this is, again, more definitions. Almost all tax forms have a whole set of instructions with them. So when I prepare my application, what I do is I say send to print, and I print it as a PDF, and I only print the pages that they need. I remove all the extraneous instructions off of it. It's entirely up to you. The lenders don't really care that much. I've not heard any complaints from them, but that just makes it simpler. So the form is complete. And there you go. Pretty much all there's you need to know in a nutshell. Okay. And I just want you to be able to use this information. I know that what is fairly easy for me to do is much harder for everybody else. It's just really challenging because I had 35 years in the legal industry, and so I learned how to read complex information and such, and they don't make it particularly linear. It's very much a more complex. Their sentences are complex. They're not simple. So you have to sort out what it is and what it really applies to you and for your business. And while I have your attention, I beg your indulgence. I have a new 6-week online course to help you create and grow a profitable business. It's something I have been wanting to do for a very long time, and I am thrilled to say that it is finally out there. My next course starts on April 9th, so it's just around the corner. It's dedicated to helping small business owners create and grow profitable businesses by using the same methods that successful entrepreneurs use. It covers how to increase your income, how to make your bookkeeping faster and more reliable, and how to make tax worry a thing of the past. Okay, it's going to be, it's a recorded 6-week online course with 1 hour of group coaching per week. So it's available. If you have any questions, just ask me. I never do hard sells. That's not my style. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that it was out there and available. I'm very proud of it. It's something I have wanted to do for a very long time. And I'm in just wrapping up my first launch. It's been amazing. People have really had, they got results out of the first session. Out of the very first session, one said, I never even thought to look here to make more money. I went, yeah, that's what it's all about, folks, is that we really have to figure this out. So, okay, so enough on that. Thank you. So let's do Q&A right now. Let's go ahead and ask your questions. It's fine for you to go ahead and unmute your mics if you'd like at this time, and just go ahead and ask your questions, and I'm happy to answer them right now.
Hi, Lorna. Thank you. I put in the chat box, we were talking about working with a lender. And I remember listening on the first round of PPP that they suggested to use both an online lender and a bank lender and to do 2 to see which one you get in with first. Is that still the case?
Yes, it is still the case. The problem was the banks, again, in the first round, the banks were very interested in working with the big companies because the money that they were going to receive was going to be much bigger. So the small businesses were not getting any attention whatsoever. And there are a few online lenders, so you can go through PayPal. There's one, B-I-Z to credit. And again, I said I put these slides together really fast, and I had meant to include those names. So it's Biz to Credit. Okay, and Lendio is one, but go ahead and Funder, something like that, is another one. So I can look those up and send them through via email to you and give you some more. But yeah, if you have a banking business relationship, go ahead and use them. Use their form. Some of them want you to fill out the form that I sent you and to upload it. Okay, others want you to fill out their form online. Just comply with their requests. But if you get that form together that I sent you, you will have all the information you need at your fingertips. Just pay attention to whether they want the annual number or the monthly number in the box for the payroll information. Okay, that I was really surprised about, because if I had put in the monthly numbers, the average monthly, which is what they're looking for, times 2.5, it would have made a really big, I would have made a really big mistake.
Yeah.
When everybody else is asking for the average monthly, they asked for the annual. It was very interesting that happened. It says, can you confirm that I checked sole prop if I have an LLC on the business, but I'm a sole prop LLC? Ooh, there's a big question. So you're a single member LLC.
Correct.
Which
disqualified me from all the other stuff too.
Okay. Let me go look at the form. Let me go. Great question. Are you using your social security number on the LLC, or do you have an EIN?
I have an EIN.
Okay, I think I know how to answer this question. It's a really good question.
Okay, thank you.
So you're going to mark LLC because that's what you are. Okay, so you can't get around that. Under your business legal name is going to be whatever it actually is. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and under the average monthly payroll, you're going to go ahead and include the same gross information from the I think on the form it actually tells you where you can get the information, but I believe that it's going to be a gross number also. I believe on one of those instruction pages it gives you some more information about where the number is supposed to be. But remember, this form predates the changes. So
Okay.
here's what I'd have you do. I'd have you go ahead and use whatever your gross number is in the average monthly payroll box, because you are not getting a paycheck through the LLC. And
can
then,
you repeat that one more time? Use the average gross.
Right, average gross income. The same as if you were a sole proprietor. Okay, go ahead and use that. It is not their intention to exclude you. So that's it. So you may have some explaining to do.
Okay.
but
that happens a lot.
Happens. Do it anyway. And remember to remind them that I'm a single member. You believe, many entrepreneurs believe, that the people that they're working with know more about what you're eligible for than you do. And that's actually not true. And this is why entrepreneurs need to be really well armed and informed about what they're entitled to, because you're working with employees that are just pushing the papers around. They've been given their instructions, and it's their understanding. If you need to go to a supervisor, go to a supervisor. Have them go to someone else and get more information. But stand your ground and say, look, I'm a single member LLC. I'm sure it's not their intention to exclude me. I am my money, and I don't know, do your taxes get prepared on a Schedule C for you, or is it just a number that comes, you have a tax return for your LLC?
Do you have a tax return for
your LLC? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little more complex, but I'd have you just go ahead and for the average monthly income, go ahead and use that. And I believe that there's some more instructions. So, you can come back to me on that. Okay, so Joe, it says that the PDF remains fillable on your side on a Mac, but is there a problem with that? Did you have a specific question on that?
Mute. I was able to fill it out on my desktop and then just save it, and all the information's already filled out.
Okay. Okay. Well, that was good. Thank you. Well, that was my intention, was to send you something that was fillable. So I'm glad to hear that it came that way. The way you can make it not fillable anymore is to do it as a print doc, do it print to a PDF, and it fixes all the content. It will no longer be fillable when you do that. And so that's the way I submit to avoid any error on their side. Okay. Yeah, that's something that I do. And then I can apply signatures and initials to it at that point.
Got it.
Okay. So great. Good. All right. So I'm a little disappointed that fewer people showed up, but I'm so glad that you two both showed up today. Do you have any additional questions for me?
No, thank you so much for taking time on your Saturday to do something like this for people like me that have no idea what I'm doing and feel like I keep getting pushed. Like I feel like I'm that gray area that doesn't qualify, like comes close but doesn't always qualify. So
Right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you are most welcome. It has been a very challenging journey, and I was really pleased to see that they were looking to help more business owners by making this program more flexible, because they could see that a lot of business owners got, pushed off to the side when they were the very ones they wanted to help.
Right.
Yeah.
And then these big businesses just swarmed them last time. And so then they said, you know what, we got to put a stop to this behavior. If they're not going to behave, okay. And the only ones that gave their money back were the ones that got publicly shamed. All the others just took the money and ran with it. But because nobody noticed it or called them out publicly, they didn't give the money back. A couple of the businesses that got publicly shamed, they had to give the money back.
Yeah.
So yeah, my pleasure to help you folks here with this. So again, it's you know my feelings about this, that success is not an event, it's a result. And it's up to you to produce results.
May I add, I'm glad that you had this today. I'm glad I postponed what I was doing later to find out. I spoke with CESLOC last Wednesday, and they said, oh, I only qualify for a very small amount compared to what you said I qualify for under the new understanding of the PPP. This will be the first thing I receive other than the EIDL that I finally got middle of last month.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to some help.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you were able to stay for the full time, Joe. I know that this was important, and I'm glad you were able to work it out. I was so disappointed, and as were many entrepreneurs, so disappointed so many of them got such little money when there was so much money out there. Now, there is round one money still available. And if people have asked, yeah, that was a real surprise. It didn't get all used up. So you can still go back and get round one money too, under the parameters of what it said to apply for. But this round is most likely going to be the most beneficial because they didn't change the parameters on round one. So you still have to use the net money profits from 2019 in order to apply for round one money. And so for a lot of sole proprietors, there's no real benefit of going after round one money, but there can be. So my best recommendation is to go after round two money, which says, oh, well, you can use your gross receipts to calculate the funding, and then look to see if you can get round one money. And remember, it's on you guys to document how you spent the money, because getting forgiveness is fairly easy. It's fairly easy. Not time consuming on your side. The documentation is actually fairly simple. The challenge is that the banks the lenders were supposed to do it in 60 days, and they're pushing 4 and 5 months at this point in actually processing them and forgiving them. And then they've made, with one vendor, they made requests for the same information over and over and over. I had to produce it 3 different times for one of my biggest recipients. And there was, yeah.
May I add, I'm having a similar issue with my PUA, where I had to be recertified through identify.me or ID.me. And I haven't received anything from the PUA since December 7th. And I've been,
Yeah. I had, yeah, another client, same thing. They said, oh, you know, that they were fraudulent, and that she was requesting funding fraudulently. And so somebody apparently hacked her account, and she's not had any money since, you know, the end of last year. She's
Right.
gotten no money since the end of last year. And so, yeah, that's, the fraud has been very hard on legitimate businesses, been very harmful to them. And the fact that we can't talk to people, we can't talk, you know, we can't get through to them. They don't send us emails, they don't receive our emails or whatever. And super, super upsetting. It has been a super upsetting experience for a lot of businesses.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for your help.
Huh?
Thanks for your help. I really.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So, yeah, you two have a great rest of your day. I'm glad you were here. And let me know if you need any additional support, and let me know if you have any interest in my online course. Okay.
Thank you so much. Would it be possible to get a recording of this so I can go back and slow it down
Yes.
for
Yes,
like
I did record it. It's my intention to send it out to you, and then but yeah, my pleasure to do that. And I'll send the recording over to be refined here shortly, and it should be out in a couple of days. So she's usually pretty quick about getting them turned around. And then let me know if you have any questions. Okay.
Terrific.
Thank
Thank you so much, Lorna.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that wraps it up for us today, folks. I want you to know that I am really committed to your success. Success is not an event, it's a result. And I am so happy that you took the time out of your busy schedule to take a moment to help yourself, because ultimately you are responsible for having the financial health and success that you want. Okay. I cannot stress it enough about how being proactive for your business will make you successful and to have a business and a life you love. So now go out there and have a business and life you love. Thank you very much.